Peter chapter 5. 1 Peter chapter 5. Thank God for testimonies. Crystal had to say, Crystal, out of my respect for you, let me tell you what I wanted to preach all week. The wait is worth the wait, but I know that's you, and I'm gonna let you do that first. That's your words.
Okay.
We can work. I could have worked with that one. For real. Well, let me say this as you all are getting 1 Peter chapter 5. I hope I don't get sidetracked, chasing a rabbit. But as Sister Orr was testifying, God said, let everybody know that we have to stop being Jonah and turn into Jesus.
All right, say it now.
All right. Stop being Jonah and turn into Jesus. Let me tell y'all what that means. Jonah caused a storm because he was disobedient. So he got thrown into the water as a deterrent to help the ship and storm stop. Remember? And so how does that relate to us? Some of us, if you have been in discipleship, you really understand what I'm getting ready to say. Some of us would rather calm the storm for somebody else and be disobedient and get thrown into the mouth of a fish than to do what God has called you to do. That's the first piece. The other piece, what did Jesus do when the storm was going on and he was down in the ship and he was sleeping? They went down and got him, and he got up, stretched out his hand or whatever he did. He said, peace be still. Everything stopped. Now some of you all may be saying, well, I'm not Jesus, I don't have that kind of power. Yet we are the arms and the hands and the feet and the eyes of Christ. And I believe he's empowered us to have that kind of power. So what he's telling us, they walk in that power. Simple as that. Y'all already looking funny. I haven't got to the text yet. I don't believe. I'm gonna get to it. I don't believe all this trouble that we have going on up in here in folks' lives. And let's be in prayer for Pastor Allison, because Brother Allison is doing worse, per her report. And she's woe out. And she's all the emotions you can think going through something like this is difficult. And so let's be in prayer for her. But all these things that we have going on. But isn't it funny? We got a lot of trouble going on, but we also got a lot of exaltation going on. That's right. That's right. We got people who are being promoted on their jobs. People are getting more money. You know, Chantel gets housing. You know, housing like that. Housing like that. If you really understand the housing crisis, and for her to get something like that, that's a miracle for real. And so for God to exalt and move and how he's doing what he's doing, hopefully we understand we're a special church. We're a special church. See, again, we don't have to worry about size. We get caught with size. Don't worry about size. Just worry about impact. We make an impact. When you impact, it makes a difference. You ought to be strategically placed. I wish Miss Netta would quit testifying about the club, about leaving the club. You're not leaving the club. You stuck with them. God has to strategically put us in places. And that's what I was trying to tell Makeda, because she really didn't, I don't know if she ain't testifying. Well, okay, you know, you can't make a person testify. I'm gonna do a first lady lunch. I'm gonna testify. So,
You gonna do it for her?
we'll do it for her. I'm gonna fix it out. She don't, you know, sometimes we have a little, I gotta help people understand what really has happened. So if you don't know what UROC is a very, very important University of Minnesota establishment that's in North Minneapolis. And it was birthed in struggle. J. Bass, birthed in struggle, birthed in pain. And so they were originally going to have a research center there for them to do research on our kids. And so we had a psychologist from New York that was going to come here to do some research on our kids. So of course the community had to fight for that not to happen. And so it's research and engagement, but you've had a lot of different executive directors. And if you have an executive director who, from my understanding, and from a University of Minnesota, and ushers, y'all can sit down. I'm sorry. I'm gonna read the scripture in a second. But if you have a system that's set up to disregard somebody who's going before you, to me that's a dysfunctional system, because you can never, you can never build anything up because you have to tear it down. So you're constantly tearing down to try to build up. And if anybody knows anything about relationships, how is that going to work? Right. To me, there will be a system, there will be an environment that's full of backbiting, gossiping, blah, blah, blah. And you talking about crabs in a crate. Everybody's fighting for, come on, that does not work. And so now we have somebody, and Darrell Gillespie, who's been there from the beginning, who's watched all these different people come. Yeah. And she's never talked about people. She's always done what she needs to do. She's always loved community. So now, guess what? She's been exalted to the executive director of that particular organization. So now she becomes a different kind of player in the game. That's right. Let me say that again. So all of you all who have been, I call them grunt workers, and I'm not disrespecting anybody's work. When you're a grunt worker, when you got supervisors over you, but when you're the head of the supervisors, y'all looking funny. When you're the pastor of the organization, you have a place to now you get to instill your values. Huh? See, when you work in agencies where they don't look at things like you look at things, you can fall prey to becoming, to assimilating.
Come on, preach it.
Y'all don't like this kind of talk. I don't believe God called us to assimilate. What does that mean, Pastor? That means that you take on, you become a chameleon. You do what other people do. You do what people want you to do. You change your ways to fit in. Jesus never fit in. He was always causing some trouble to build his kingdom. To show people what's right. To point them in the right direction. And how many of y'all know sometimes people don't want to do right? And sometimes when you get these kind of positions, you start to deal with politics.
All right, keep going.
And politics get greasy. Anybody been in a place where politics comes into play?
Woo! Everywhere.
Yes, Lord.
Everywhere.
Where can you not be?
And so you gotta learn how to play the game. But why have to learn how to play a million different games when you can play God's game and be who you are? Last week I preached a sermon, an unhindered gospel, and what the crux of that message was, Paul became everything to everybody so he could build his kingdom, but he never compromised his witness. Amen. So what am I saying? I'm saying we got to continue to be who we are, who God called us to be, whatever that looks like. So now, I told him, okay, now you get to run the show. You know how when you don't run the show, you can tell about the person who runs the show? Right? You got all, because guess what? When you're in leadership, somebody always got something to say. Amen. Amen. Everybody got an opinion, everybody got something to say. And if you are thin-skinned, did I say that?
You did.
How I mean, let me just make it real. You can't live for Christ being thin-skinned. Amen. You cannot, because there is an attack on the church. The church is totally losing its influence. And it is our job, not just for Proverbs, but the church global. It is our job to represent the church global so God's kingdom can be built and his Father can be glorified in heaven.
Amen. Amen.
Amen. 1 Peter chapter 5. Don't want to read all of this. Whew. I'm going to start at verse 1. I am going to read that. Start at, if you can, will you stand for the reading of God's word, please? And it reads, 1 Peter chapter 5, starting at verse 1. Therefore, as a fellow elder and witness to the sufferings of the Messiah, and also a participant in the glory about to be revealed, I exhort the elders among you, shepherd God's flock among you, not overseeing out of compulsion, but freely, according to God's will, not for money, but eagerly, not lording it over those entrusted to you, but being examples to the flock. And when the chief shepherd appears, you will receive the unfading crown of glory. In the same way, you younger men, be subject to the elders, and all of you clothe yourself with humility toward one another, because God resists the proud, but gives grace to the humble. Humble yourselves, therefore, under the mighty hand of God, so that he may exalt you at the proper time. And here it is. Casting all your cares on him, because he cares for you. I'm going to stop here. May God have the reading, hearing, and doing of his word. Let us pray. Gracious Father, for these next few moments, I ask that you speak through me. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be accepted in thy sight. O Lord, my strength and my redeemer. Amen. Amen. See. Here, Peter is talking to some saints who are in the process of being persecuted. Kind of like us right now. The leader at that time, when he was writing this, Nero, he was getting ready to get buck wild. This was the beginning stages of them being persecuted. He was trying to help them understand, you're going to have to suffer. And the part that I read was talking to the pastors and the shepherds. Lead with humility, and lead with understanding, and lead with caring, and do all these things as leaders so you can help those who are under you. And then those who are under you, you also be humble, and you respect when you be humble to each other. And that's how the church is supposed to be, with a whole lot of love. But there's one thing I want to think about. I want us to think about. Because I believe, this is my own, this is Gillespie saying, I think there are two kinds of Christians. Okay? The Christians that were born and raised in the church, and the Christians that just come in. They don't know anything about the church. Can we put people in that distinction? And I know people can be in between and all that, and that varies. And why do I say that? Because in this text, Peter is writing to Gentile Christians. That's a difference. Not Jewish Christians, but Gentile Christians. And the reason I think that makes a difference is because Jewish people the Jewish Christians had a sense of what church looked like. And because they had a sense of what church looked like, they could refer back to a wilderness experience. Amen? Is that true? And so these folks who are now just coming into the fold, they got a couple of battles. Number one, they're not chosen. So you may have some haters because they weren't chosen. Then they also don't have an experience of what this thing looks like. Gee, what in the world are you talking about? The reason I'm trying to help us understand is because sometimes people come into church thinking there's not going to be any trouble. So people are running from hell. Now listen to this. You run from hell, you come to the church, give your heart to God, and then the hell picks up.
All right.
Trouble.
Oh, the hell, y'all might be offended. Okay, let me say that different. You have a whole lot of trouble and foolishness and dysfunction over here. You get saved with the understanding, because you haven't been there, done that, with the understanding when I give my heart to God, he's going to wipe away, create in me a new heart, and he's going to renew a right spirit. He's also, I'm not going to be the same anymore. Now when I get over here, I got more dysfunction, I got more trouble, I got more than I had over here. Why in the world should I live for Christ? Come on.
Amen.
And we have people in our church like that that don't understand. And we're so caught up in our own stuff. That's why I love the testimonies today. Chantel honored Miss Netta. Sister Orr honored Gail. Why does that mean a lot to me? Because people are seeing the connection. So let me tell you, because you got to learn how to listen to what people aren't saying. So what Chantel was really saying was, I know my boys be cutting up sometimes. And you, because you know me, because you go to church with me, but more so than that, because she has the Holy Ghost on the inside of her that gives her discernment, she's not, because she don't do that for just, it's not just Jackson and Josiah that get extra. They got a whole house full of kids that get a little extra love. But Chantel's able to recognize that. And so it's good to give props. So Sister Orr started out with seamstress. This is my seamstress. Well, guess what? She's my seamstress too.
Amen.
Right. But what Sister Orr, she said she helps me other ways. I guarantee you the other ways, whatever that look like. Y'all know the chief, what we call a Pharaoh.
Amen.
Pharaoh needs some help.
That's right.
I'm serious.
Yes, sir.
I don't know how Pharaoh is. We didn't be talking about rehearsal with Pharaoh. Pharaoh act like she ain't got no flaws, right? What she's saying is, even in my greatness, I still need somebody to come alongside me and help me. And I'm thankful that Gail knows how to do it. Here it is, y'all, listen. Gail knows how to do it without telling anybody. Oh, y'all don't hear me talking. She can handle my flaws and my insecurities in the areas I come up short with, but she don't got to spread it out so I can maintain who I am. That's what Peter's trying to help the church understand. We're going to have some suffering in this way, and some of the suffering is going to cause us to act out sometime.
Act out. Come on.
I know y'all don't act out. You don't got to act out in church. You got a church that responds to trouble in a way that's always. I told you I don't feel good to be called an MF. Does it, Miss Netta? Don't feel good to be called a B. Y'all just thought I was the only one that's going to get called that? For real?
That's where he started.
If they're going to talk about the pastor, what do you think they're going to do to the members? We all are game to get cussed out. Don't think because you're a child of God, nobody getting ready to change their language for you. That's a little more ammunition for them. But we still have to show love.
Yeah.
The text says, cast your cares. What that is saying, the things that the Greek interpretation of the word cast is things that you're anxious or worried about. Yes. Cast your cares on him because he cares for you. Yes. That's a simple wording. Because we had the audacity to try to be in control of everything. How y'all trying to control something when you can't control anything?
You talking right?
All right now.
No way Amanda can control how fast Tay drives. Much as she wants to.
Help us, Lord.
Tay has to make a conscious decision to take his foot off the pedal. But as his mother, she has to keep, that don't mean stop getting at him. But what she's learning is this: I gotta have some strategic, constructive, critical, hard conversations. Church folk can be so harsh and mean and unprepared to have a hard conversation.
Come on, preacher.
It's more than God don't like that, and what does the Bible say about that, y'all? it's even more than you gonna go to hell. I believe I lived in a generation, they had a movie, I can't remember the name of it. Some people, y'all remember that movie when the first movie about demons and hell and fire came out? Oh, they scared us to death, man. All the kids watching that. I ain't sure they going to hell. Not that. Monsters and all that stuff. I don't remember the name of it, but they had a big old service, man. The whole community came scaring us. Can I tell y'all, you ain't scaring these kids nowadays. I don't care nothing about no movie. Who is God? Because they don't even believe in God. Because people are atheists. People don't even think God exists. And the way we act sometimes, we act like he don't exist in our life too.
Well.
We have to be able to have a conversation with folks in love. And I know we want people to be saved. I understand that, but Paul is telling us to humble ourselves. Don't lord over people. Don't use your tenure. What you mean, tenure? Because you've been saved 50 years and they've been saved 10 days.
Say it.
I'm helping us. I met with Anissa this weekend and I was like, well, I want us to invite people to some church. God said, well, why don't you start really inviting people to church? You get your folks here. I was begging people to come. All the people said they'd come. Can't nobody come this Sunday. But am I going to stop? No. Y'all get ready. Because I feel an unction to invite the folks that I was scared to bring up in here. The gun toting ones. Y'all hear what I say? The ones that can legally carry and will shoot. Because they got so much going on in their minds. They're so angry that the next person that flip out on them, talking to them, they have nothing to lose. Y'all want them kind of people up in here?
Yes, sir.
That's all I'm talking about. Okay. Y'all sure?
Kind
I hear kind of.
Gotta do it.
Those kind of people, when you put $20, when you shake $20 in their hand, they say, why you didn't give me 100?
Oh, Father.
That's all? Don't say, oh no, it's people like that.
Yeah.
You can't do better than that. You give them a pair of shoes. Take this back. This is not name brand. I don't want these. Y'all want them up in here?
Amen.
Woo-wee. Y'all, we don't have a choice. Absolutely. We don't have a choice. We got to show love. That's what Paul is trying to help us, because there's too much suffering going on. He's trying to help them understand. Because you got a crown of life that's coming that nobody can take away. When God gives you the crown that you're working for, you're not working for this temporal body, but we are supposed to build His kingdom. We got to get these folks in here. Okay? So get ready.
Amen.
I've been saying that for 16 years. Get ready. Get ready.
Get ready.
All right.
Can I use scripture? Such was some of you. Why y'all up in here front? I ain't never did nothing like that. Okay. I don't do wrong. I don't have problems. Okay. Such was some of you. Pastor Orr said it. The stuff we're going through is for a reason.
Yes.
So now, that's why these, so Kathy, don't. Listen, y'all. If God is blessing you, for real blessing you, don't be afraid to stand up and talk about it.
Amen.
It's necessary for us as a body to see people being blessed. We don't always have to have a sad story all the time. Sad stories are necessary. Overcoming stories are necessary, but we also want to hear some blessings.
We need to hear something.
And I'm glad for Sharita talking about she may get some money. Y'all don't ask her for some money if she get a big amount of money. I'm for real. Sister, instruct,
That's right. Talking good.
help us. Let's celebrate. Because what she asked for real was somebody here who has great money management skills. Help her.
Yeah.
Don't take from her. Help her.
Yeah.
And do it for free. Yeah, and then I have to mention, Naren is up here. Her foot I don't know what. That just seems hard. Y'all, it's not hard. I know she is. You know, we gotta help folks. If we're gonna be helpers, our brothers and sisters, keepers, that's part of what this thing is about. She said she's making a declaration. Don't get mad at her because she don't want to live check to check and she got some help that's getting ready to come because her mama planned and had a 501, 401k. It doesn't hurt to plan.
That's right, that's right.
We don't talk about this kind of stuff, but we need to. Life insurance and all these different kind of things that we're going to help our children gain wealth so they're not struggling. But sometimes we selfish. Ooh, I'm just getting so off the topic.
That's all right.
I'm not off the topic.
Preach the word.
But this is the kind of stuff that keeps us jammed up. Put something away for your kids. Don't live all around.
No.
My time up, Mother E. Got to get out of here. You have to understand what God is trying to help us. He wants us to be, I believe he wants us to be holistic Christians where we are managing and being successful in all areas of life.
Amen.
Old folks, back in the day, never forget, my aunt sis, my grandma's sister, I can't tell you how many people, cousins, family members that told me they could always go to Aunt Sis for money. She would go back in the back, under the mattress and in jars and stuff. Always got a little something to help out. Help all kind of people. People you don't even think about coming and talking about. I'm like, Aunt Sis knew what to do with it. There's something in giving to the house of God. There's something about giving to God if you want to stay on the money thing. Because money sometimes tends to have us jammed up. Family seems to have us jammed up. Work seems to have us jammed up. Cast your cares on him. As we're casting our cares on him and letting him take care of it, can we take a little time just to listen to his direction and telling us what to do? We can avoid some problems. I'm done. God, I thank you. Let's pray. God, I thank you for a chance to speak to your people. God, we got a huge job that we have to accomplish. We have people that are waiting on us to be ourselves. God, help us that we will be able to hear your word and that it may take root in us, that we can build your kingdom, that we can be a witness that's walking the word you call. God, I thank you. I pray for every problem that's in this room, every situation that you give all of us wisdom and insight, how to navigate. God, I ask that you give us opportunities to spread your word, that we can talk about an unhindered gospel, and we can find ways to let go when we're trying to control things that we feel like we're moving too slow. Give us patience that we will be able to be in the right place, in the right mindset when you decide to move, you unction us to do something pertaining to your glory. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Amen. Let's stand.